This is the Mindset Game podcast, and I'm your host, James Roberts. And on today's show, I've got Emma Baker. So, welcome on the show, Emma.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here and to be having a chat.
So, for the listeners and also the viewers, can you give me a brief introduction to who you are and what you do?
Um, for me, I guess, with my own journey, I realized that mindset was missing from the fitness industry after dabbling in it for about 7 years and achieving results but never actually being able to attain them. So now I live in my passion, which is which what I call weight management revolution, and that is putting into the industry weight management psychology.
So, talk to me a little bit more about weight loss psychology.
So I guess like the first part is going into telling yourself a little bit about me. So then when I explain weight management psychology, it comes from a place where a lot of people are able to relate. And for me, I guess the passion came from being losing 60 kilos, yet never really truly being able to keep the weight off. Like I would always constantly find the next extreme, and through that extreme, I would lose weight and that was great. But then once that coach had, not I wasn't able to afford that coach at that time, then being able to fall off straight away, I was back lost into how I would then keep achieving the results and not having those messages to push me a little bit and telling me that strength is everything. And if you fall off the bandwagon, don't let yourself down. And I guess the confusion in that, and then I would find the next thing, which would be, say, a cleanse diet. And that's amazing. And I knew that the nutrition was amazing, yet trying to keep and retain the results to me made no sense. Like I didn't know how to do it. I knew it was there. And at the time, I was constantly looking for um, this rah-rah moment where I was like, I've made it. Like, this is my answer. This is my diet that's going to change everything for me. And, after losing 60 kilos, I would constantly lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. I came to realization that it was mindset that was missing. Like, I wasn't in the mindset to be able to accept the results I was achieving, nor I wasn't in the mindset to ever be able to keep the results because everything I was doing was excessive. And then I got introduced to a college, and it's the first course of its kind that I studied, and it's weight management psychology. So weight management psychology is pretty much the psychological side behind our whole journey, and it's exactly what's missing from the industry, because there's so many, and this is predominantly from the industry. There are some people that do it, but there's so many people I speak to, and it shows me how important it is, even after things I've learned. It's taking back to basics and granting permission to live again, you know, to understand that you can achieve your results um, like incredibly and amazingly, but you can do it with the right mindset to be able to live at the same time and not have excessive reclusive behaviors. So, yeah, that's why I get really fired up about it.
But does it come back to the fact that you say that extreme to get results? Does it come back to the people are swayed to a certain extent by what is portrayed in the media?
100%. So, what, and not just in the media, it's just everyday life. When we go to a coach, every single part of the industry, and that's not just coaches, that's not just PTs, that's just the way that we look to results, to get results, is in an excessive manner where we want to do something strict, 100%, no, no swaying from it. And if we do, then we're going to fail. And it is definitely media that shows us that, and especially when there's all these 30-day diets, 6-week diets, four-week diets, all these results, and you see the testimonials, which people are like, wow, if I stay strict for 4 weeks, I'm going to get results. But then they never actually portray the 4 weeks after that where someone's falling off the bandwagon. Because why?
Well,
Show me something 6 months later after the 4 weeks, and that's when I'll be like, that's amazing. But the results we are led to believe are not actually results of the mentality that we're trying to achieve. It's of the physical result, which we're trying to achieve, yet we don't realize we're physically trying to find this mentality of, okay, I've made it. Yet that's actually a mindset.
well, they don't show the after effects because in most cases, obviously, like you say, they've fallen off or they're putting that weight on, and obviously from a marketing standpoint, it's probably a massive negative. Obviously, you wouldn't sell the product.
Exactly. And I guess that's why I'm so passionate about putting this in and literally creating a revolution to put this study in the industry, not just me with making my impact with people. It's, for me, I'm so passionate because from even a 30-minute conversation with someone, their whole life changes just from granting them permission to understand that they're okay, they're human. You know, if you crave something, you're like, why are we living in a society where food keeps getting better, yet the deprivation gets even stronger? Like, how are we living? How are we ever going to gain balance if we don't understand that food is not the enemy? It's overeating the food, and it's our mindset behind the results we're trying to achieve. And if we can change that through studying it or going to somebody that understands it, everything changes in life.
Well, that notion that people are, how would I put it, afraid of eating, I think it comes back to that they feel that if I have, say, for example, I don't know, a cookie or something like that, they feel obviously it's going to have a detrimental effect on, well,
Mm.
we'll say the diet, but in the grand scheme of things, it's like, but if you put, say, from my class, for example, I kind of put it in perspective for them. It's like, if you know, say, for example, they're going to go out for a meal and it's not planned. It's like, well, if you've done, say, for example, with flexible dieting, you've planned to a certain extent that allows you to have that one meal of
And do you know what?
indulgence.
I guess that is like exactly right. That's what we need to take it down to, is just learning balance, but also is flexible dieting is being given this name of flexible dieting, but really flexible dieting is living. Even when I speak to people about flexible dieting, I'm like, what even is it? That's life. Flexible dieting, and the thing is, in the industry now, we're so scared of flexible dieting because to us that's not excessive, which means no results. But it's actually the fact that you're not going to binge on a Saturday. You're just going to have a little bit of something when you feel like it, and that's human nature. Our body needs sugar. Our body needs carbs. We need to be less scared. Change the mentality behind why we're trying to achieve our results, not because we want to be skinny or not because we want to, build muscle, not because we want to physically look this way, but because our body deserves to be at its best. So if we can change the mindset behind why we're trying to achieve our results, because even in society and in the media, we put these actions in, these perfect, we feel as though if we are on this mission and our actions are perfect, so we eat 100% clean and we're going to do all this, we are always still going to say that we're not chasing perfection. Yet why do we chase this, this results that's always excessive in the process? Like perfection in our results, yet we don't actually want perfection. It's like, what are we doing?
Well, that's probably the wrong mindset to have in the first place. Is trying
Mm,
to get to perfection, because to a certain extent it doesn't exist.
exactly. That's my point. If I spoke to anyone, they'd be like, I don't want to be perfect. So I'm like, so why are you grilling yourself every single day with a mindset to trying to achieve that, yet you don't want to achieve it? You've just had a cookie. That's okay. Like, you just then continue eating healthy. Cookies are okay. 1,000 cookies are not.
Well, it's putting
Like,
it's putting it into
yeah, you.
it's putting obviously that into perspective, and obviously it's, well, if you consume anything to excess, you're gonna lose weight, and then if you say put it on the other flip side, uh, having a diet where you can lose weight on eating a chocolate bar for if you wanted to.
Yes. And that's like I tell people, it's just like, you are human. Let's just get back to basics of self-love. If you can love yourself, you're going to fuel yourself with what you deserve. You're not going to crave McDonald's because your body deserves to be fueled with the best food that's going to make you the best you can be. Not because you'll look better, but because you'll feel better. The looks come anyway. Eat the salad because it's good for your digestive system, because it's good for your skin, because it's good for your body, because you deserve to be healthy, not because you're chasing a physical result. Yet the physical result still comes. So it's changing the way we actually put the actions in, the way we eat, the reasons why we do what we do, not the actual result. And if you do go out for dinner, don't become like I got to a point where I was such a recluse. I would, even like no nights I would want to go out and socialize, because I knew that meant I was not going to have the foods that I knew I was craving. I mean, I knew I would have them. And for me, then the next day, because I told myself I can't have it, I would eat triple. And then it's like, why am I even putting myself through this grueling process when I have it anyway? Because our minds don't know any different. We can like admit that, in a partner, or in some the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever you go for. We always want what we can't have. It is exactly the same process with foods. So you tell yourself you can't have that chocolate, all you can think about is having it. You tell yourself you can have it. I used to be like the biggest obsessor when it came to chocolate, carbs, and I would eat a whole loaf of bread in a sitting. And this is even when I had abs, because I was so excessively choosing the fact that I can't have it. Now I never even crave foods. I don't even know what that's like anymore. And if I feel like something, I just go do it. And I'm okay with that. And I'm living again, you know? And I think that in society and in the industry now, we actually don't realize how deep we're in and how bad our mindset is until we're out.
Well, it's a big one because I think I'm similar. If I don't have the actual, well, I don't want to say ingredient, but product in the house, then I don't crave it. But if it's there, obviously I'll eat it. But that comes back to the mindset
Mm-hmm.
of, in some cases, oh, I can't, it's like a graph as such. But if you're craving, we'll use that analogy of the chocolate again. You're actually craving other vitamins and minerals which you can get from something else.
Correct. And just because um, we choose that we can't have it, we need to become more self-aware to the point of why we're craving something, and knowing the fact that there is a substitute that's healthier that you can fuel that feeling with. But if you do end up having it, tell yourself it's okay, just have a little bit, walk away from it, you know, because that happens regardless. When we're in a mindset, we're going to do it regardless. So if we can do it and do minimal damage with the fact that you're human, it's there, it's at the shops, it's everywhere actually. And you can choose the reasons why you feel your body. And if you do it with the right reasons, you're not going to excessively do it to a point where it harms you.
I think that notion comes back to the fact that it's not dwelling on you're going to eat it and not victimizing yourself and kind of being harsh on yourself that you are, well, not falling off the bandwagon, but kind of straying off the path a little bit. It's like, well, that one bit of chocolate isn't gonna hurt you as long as you're doing everything else to the best of your ability.
Exactly. And that's the point. It's just getting back to basics and admitting the fact that we're human. We breathe. We're all walking this life, and we don't need to be perfectionists in the process. We need to just learn to be able to live to how we can live. Don't keep grueling yourself to a lifestyle that you can't actually obtain, because you're not actually that person. I was like, I want to do gym 7 days a week, only eat chicken and broccoli, do this. And I'm like, that's cool. But I was literally, I love having a wine and going to dinner with girlfriends and living to just be social and, being me. So now if I can actually take it back to living to live, some days I go to the gym and I'll do a crazy session and it's amazing. But then if I don't want to, I live to how I can live in that day, and I'm okay with that. I'll go for a 20-minute walk and do some gratitude. So it's releasing the pressure off yourself to be this thing where if you fall off, you fall off for a long time. Just for us to, I guess, tear back all those layers. And the way I always start with anyone is granting them permission. from an outside perspective to acknowledge the fact that they're good enough, to learn self-love, and then everything changes from there. But the number one step with this whole process is acknowledging how worth it we are, and that regardless of your journey, or if you've fallen off, if you've gained weight again, regardless of where you are, you're good enough, and let's do it for the right reasons now.
But I think that's probably the problem with most people, and they don't have that quote unquote the why factor as to why do you want to actually get to this result that you crave? Is it for because I want to look like such and such in the media, or is it because for
My
an
favorite.
actual health reason to be there for, like if you use the analogy of quitting smoking, if you, it's being there for your kids later on in life. That's why you are quitting.
This is probably one of my favorite subjects because it's something, I don't know if you've seen some of my videos, but this is something that I'm so passionate about, because what I found in the media is that we're so accustomed to make a why bigger than who we are. So that's cool. Like, you will maybe achieve the results. But if you don't ultimately do your why and make your process of what your choices you make because of who you are and who we are, nothing will ever be as effective as it could be. If we learn self-love, self-worth, starting from the scratch of the fact that we are good enough to show others that they are good enough. I'm good enough to obtain the best health I can have because I want to live this life the best I can be, because I'm breathing, because I'm human. And if I can do that, I can not only help you do that, but I can also show you that you're doing it for you. And then the bigger, like the why outside of that, the goal is obviously those things that, come with it, to be there for my kids, to be healthy, to be fit, to look good for my partner. They're all amazing, but the predominant answer to who, like our why, is because of us. Us as humans, we need to start chasing our dreams and our goals and our life and happiness because we are good enough for it. And then moving forward to goals being for the reason. But I feel as though in society we're so, like any motivational speaker that I've heard, like a lot of them, and the way society has turned us is that everyone always says, write down your goal board, what's your why? What's that car that you're chasing with your dream job? Like, what does your home look like? And all these things. And I'm like, that's amazing. But how about just gaining success because you're capable of it? And what about getting that body because you're good enough to have that body because you're amazing? I like to start with that. It's because we are so accustomed to believe that it's something else. And I feel as though if we can start chasing our goals and the things we're trying to achieve with the fact that we are good enough for that, life then changes at a whole new level. And when you attain the success you're wishing to achieve, it feels so different.
But does it not come back to that notion that people are concerned, probably more so in society today, with what other people think? And obviously, that one you brought up with other motivational speakers talking about your why, obviously, getting a better car. What does your house look like? Well, those two are a bit superficial. It's not that important in the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the whole picture. I feel as though in society we're so used, and even with friends, with whatever it is, we're used to, feeling as though ego takes over if we say that it's because we're good enough, because, I love who I am and because I deserve that. It's it's not that people actually view you to be that, it's that we are scared that they will. And what I teach people is there's a difference between ego and confidence. Confidence means you're good enough. Ego means you think you're better than someone else. Completely different things. And if we can be confident in the people we are, it doesn't have to necessarily be physical, even though you bloody should be confident in your physical appearance because you are you. What can you do about it? Nothing at the moment, right now in the moment. So just love who you are in that moment and then move forward to what you wish to achieve. But that doesn't happen from grueling with sadness. Why wait 2 years to feel good about yourself when you can do it now purely by changing your mindset? Literally. Change it to be good enough, then you are.
I think, Emma, this comes back to the notion. I think uh, talking to Mike Marshausen, what was it, the other day on another podcast, he was saying it comes back to other extenuating factors as to why you can't deal with a certain situation at that money, but at this particular moment, be it you've got a financial issue, it could be down to um, a factor you had at childhood, and it's not dealing with the problem, but it's not how would I put it? Um, Coming to the realization and trying to solve what the initial trigger is. So once you get to that initial
100%.
trigger, you can obviously feel
Yeah.
better in
And
yourself.
I guess that comes down to as well is the fact that when somebody says that they're feeling uneasy or, they've had a crap day or they're feeling not so good at the moment, that's where that's the exact thing is that you need to get down to the fine reason as to why you're feeling that way. Don't put it to a hole. Don't just say, I am this person because I have no confidence or because of this or that or, the triggers to what's happened in your past. Find out what's holding you back, deal with that, then you're unstoppable. We all have things and challenges that we've been through, but it's working on the traits that it's holding you back in as to why and putting in the work to become better. We all have those setbacks and we all have those challenges, but if we can, align with what we're trying to achieve and just reach out. And like what I always say to people is there's so many people in this world that want to help. And the only way we can change things is if we be real with ourselves and reach out to those people that care. We're so scared now, but it comes down to connecting. Come back to being, the human race where we connect with each other and reach out and care for each other. And there's so many people out here that do care. So I just, I'm so strong in that facet that if you have got something that's holding you back, you've got a trigger, you feel, really self conscious, or you've had a relationship issue that's held you back, whatever it is, reach out to somebody that can help you with that trait and then move forward. Don't stay in a suffering state.
But I don't know. Well, it's probably more so the men that that they have that problem with reaching out. I don't know if I could generalize and say women don't have that problem because that would be generalizing. But obviously, with the male, it's more of a we've been taught to obviously have a put this wall up and have
Of
a male
course.
bravado, and obviously, yeah, everything's all right, and to say, well, the person themselves know within them that everything is not right. Uh, I could use if I use myself as the example, I may say things that are okay, but if you know me and been around me a lot, you could tell by my body language that something's not right, or my facial expressions I don't feel quite. So if you can pick up on those cues, obviously you can say that you can tell that I'm being lying straight to your face that I'm saying everything's okay. So it's probably like you say, it's not getting to that point, but obviously if there's something wrong, you need to obviously express things because people can't always tell uh, if you're not 100% yourself because you might be quite good at hiding your true feelings.
Exactly. And I believe in life there is no such thing except for the way we feel. So you could be doing any job, you could be communicating with any people, but unless you're not feeling good, you're not going to achieve the results you're trying to achieve because, the things in life, goals, we're all searching for a feeling, right? So if we don't hold responsibility to that feeling and chase it and go for it for the right reasons in the right way, we're never going to get there. So it's tearing back all the layers of what we've thought to get those results and all those I guess in society ways to do it, and especially even holding in our feelings and then it'll just go away. It doesn't. So even if you are male, it's like there are like I would be completely happy with speaking to a male and opening up about that. And I understand that it's hard for males, but just knowing that you are your own barrier and You know, it's okay as a human for us to feel all emotions. And I believe that challenges are what create us, and challenges are, in my eyes, so appreciated because the perception of them is every lesson I have and every challenge I have, I'm like, okay, a lesson is going to be learnt out of this and I'm going to grow. But it's just not allowing the feeling to hold you down.
Well, I think it comes back to that notion that you should probably reflect on your day to a certain extent and not dwell upon obviously the stuff that didn't go right. It's looking at, well, okay, if it did go wrong, what was it? What did you do to overcome it? And obviously that would be a positive. And looking what went right, and there's probably some good things, but you'll probably, if you didn't write it down to reflect upon it, you'd probably only look at the negative things that will happened, or
Mm-hmm.
why did I miss the bus and I was late to work? It's like, well, if you use that positive mindset, okay, you've missed the bus. Okay, if you look at it from a negative perspective, that could go on to ruin the rest of your day. Whereas you're thinking, well,
Allowing it to
it,
not
it's
take over.
it's it's happened. There's nothing you can do about it. It's how can you make your day better on beyond that? So okay, it's not great being late for work, but what could you do tomorrow to make that not be the case? Okay, you might have to go in a bit earlier or get up a bit earlier so
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't happen. But
I find that, I guess, putting it on paper does release a lot of overthinking because confusion, when we're stressed, we don't necessarily always think about the thing that's stressing us. We just feel anxiety or we feel this tension. And if we can put it on paper as to what it is, it's like, oh my God, that's not even a big deal. You know, like it could be a bill that's outstanding and it's minimal and you can pay it. It's like, I've just paid it. Now everything's better. You know, so it's putting on paper and being like, whatever it is, you can fix it and putting in action in that moment, regardless of what it is, regardless of how deep it is. Just putting in some sort of action and you'll release some of the overthinking about it. There's no such thing as overthinking, I don't believe. It's just we're self aware. And when you overthink something, it's because you're resisting it or you're not dealing with it. So it's putting it down on paper. It's realizing that there is an out. There always is. Every single time, regardless of what the problem is, there is a way to feel better. So just acknowledging that and then moving forward. Even if it is the bus, you know, life. Sorry, boss. Like, I'm just a bit late. Like, I'm human. I missed the bus. It's okay. But not allowing it to take over. Like, for me, I make mistakes all the time, but I'll just acknowledge them and say, this is a lesson. Like, I'm sorry. Because we're not perfect. There is no such thing. Mistakes happen. You know, if your intention wasn't to go out there and hurt anyone or, you know, deliberately be late, then you're okay. Life goes on. Just acknowledge it and move forward straight away. And be real in it. Own up to it. Be responsible for the challenges we have and also the positive we have. You know, the positive things we do, acknowledge. The challenges we face, acknowledge. And then everything's better because it's okay. Life will never be perfect, and how boring would it be if it was? So, you know, in society, like a lot of people, we become victim to what we go through. Yet, if we didn't go through them, how bored would we all be?
well, you say society. I think it comes to that notion. You kind of judge yourself on somebody else's life, where it's like, wow, is that truly attainable? Are they actually happy in their life? So it's like, wow, it's not. It's. I think it's become excessive to a certain extent with the media. They kind of drive it down your throat. Oh, this person's doing this. It's definitely a big one in the UK with reality television. It's like, wow, you're putting it on television because it's cheap to make, and that's the only
Mhm.
reason it's on there.
Mhm. 100%.
But then, and then obviously those people become celebrities. It's like, wow, you're not really a celebrity because you've been on reality television. It's you would be class. I don't know if you were given a kind of category, probably like a I don't know D lister to a certain extent, something like that, because you're not really that important. Okay, you've been on the television. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you've not actually, I don't know, made anything, added any
Mm-hmm.
value to somebody's life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's made a big proportion of the population watch it. It's like, well, I don't like things like that, but somebody else might do, and
Mm-hmm.
you become famous and make money off it. It's like, well, most of these things now I can understand. Say we use Big Brother as the example. The context in the beginning, I can understand because it's a psychological phenomena, putting people in a house and they don't have access to the outside world. Okay, that's to test, well, what are they gonna do? Whereas now, I think TV shows like that, they pick people at the big initial stage that are gonna
Mm.
conflict on purpose. Oh, if we put, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, somebody that's got different opinionated views, they're gonna clash. It's like, well, that's obvious. They're gonna clash in the outside world, let alone in a locked house.
Exactly. I 100% agree. And I guess it's, for us being able to, you do what you do to try and make an impact on lives in many different ways. And that's all we can do, learn lessons or, reach out to people and impact people. And for me, it's like I like to be authentic with everything I do. And the only words I speak is because of scenarios I've gone through and things I can relate with. And I feel like if everyone stepped into that and didn't care about what, Tom, Dick, or Harry thought, life would be so different. you know Anyone has lessons to teach, whether it's even to do with a car. There's so many people out there looking to learn about cars, so you're going to make an impact. So it's like whatever impact you can make, go out and chase it, and that's life. Regardless of what it is, you are just as powerful as somebody that can mesmerize someone and to make them quit smoking. Like, regardless of what impact it is you're making, you're giving someone the same result as what we're all trying to achieve. So what you're passionate about, follow it, impact lives, and learn lessons for yourself. That's life.
And Emma, how do you go about reevaluating your goals now? Obviously, be it because you've got to, I won't say perfect physique, but you probably, I won't say perfect, but you're happy within yourself. How do you reevaluate to keep yourself obviously on that straight and narrow?
So for me, my goal is health. And whatever that looks like on that day is, as long as I can feel happy within my own skin. Some days I'm going to be bloated. Some days I'm not. Like, some days I'm going to work really hard. Some days I'm just going to go out, have a pizza and a beer with friends. But what it comes down to is my goal is keeping balance and understanding the reasons why behind what I do, and holding myself accountable to the journeys that I'm on for the right reasons, and going out and helping others do the same. So when it comes to a physical, I guess, physical goal, that I don't even honestly set goals with it, because I know that they happen on the journey I'm on. Like, I keep getting fitter. I keep losing weight, but I'm not actually trying to. But I'm acknowledging the results, and I love it. But I'm not actually setting a physical goal, because I know that the harder I work with my mindset and the more I love my process, the physical goal happens. Because, right, if I said to you, like, my goal is abs, how do I know what that looks like? How do I know when that would happen? Like, how do I know what it would take to get to that goal? And would I even like it when I got there? So for me, it's just like I chase this mindset goal, and I know that my ultimate and euphoric health will happen regardless. My best will happen. So my physical, as long as I know every day that I'm chasing my goals and I'm putting the work in to achieve my best, then I'm okay with that. And when I get there, it will look good, whatever it is, I'm sure, because it's healthy. But that, to me, physical, honestly, I don't look at, as long as I'm on the right mindset. Like, if I, obviously steered away and started becoming unhealthy in my eating again and stuff like that, I would take steps back. But now that I've studied weight management psychology, I don't.
But does it
Does that
come
make
back?
sense?
Does it come back? Sorry to interrupt. Does it come back to that notion, obviously, that you are obviously comfortable in your own skin. And like you said, I think if we go back to the point with the abs, I think it's uh, would you say it was more a generalization that men want to achieve that? Because obviously,
Maybe. But for me, that's just like an example. Regardless of what goal I set, skinny legs, right? Physical goal, cool. But is my body capable of skinny legs, and is that healthy for me? Like, how do I know unless I just keep on this journey, become the healthiest I can be, then set my goal as to have made it? But how do I know what anything like that looks like on me, and if it's an attainable goal that I'm trying to reach? So for me, my goal is keeping on the path. That's it. And then the physical result I know happens, and it's happening every day. But I don't myself, like some people will still have amazing mindset and set physical goals, and that's amazing too. But for me personally, I just hold on to the feeling I'm achieving and chasing my goal every day, which is mindset and balance and healthiness, and fueling my body the best way I can. And I know that the universe has got me, and I know that my goal and my body is changing regardless. So I'm going to celebrate my results in the fact of the day and feel amazing and know that I've deserved it and I've worked hard for it. But I'm not going to look into the future of what I'm striving for, because that to me is a mindset. Every day I strive for mindset, and I strive for strength, and I strive for results. But I do it in the way that I, you know, reward myself for knowing that I've done it authentically and I feel amazing for it.
and if we go back to that point with the physical one, I'm probably very much similar. It's people say, "Oh, do you have a goal?" It's like, well, not really, because for me as a coach, it's a difficult one because okay, I don't want to like you said, that goal of overstretching. I don't want to, or I won't put it in that. It's kind of negative wording. Uh, that notion of getting to the extreme of the lower ends of body fat. It's like for me, it's like the it's not a requirement that I want. It's and then I can, well, speaking to other coaches and them telling me, well, I'm at this percentage, but these are the negatives. You're thinking, no, that's definitely not for me. I don't want I don't want to take the negatives with those positives. It's like, well,
Yeah.
it's not worth, if you look at it from a grand scheme of things, well, if you take on board all those negatives, what's actually the point of going to that far when you got all those
People
negatives to go with it?
people are so lost in the goals we're trying to achieve, they don't even realize that we're all trying to achieve a mindset, and that happens from the mind. That doesn't happen from the physical appearance. You're chasing confidence, mate, and that's not going to happen with your body. That happens with it, enjoying the process, knowing that you're worth it, acknowledging your features, loving yourself as you are. That doesn't come from a grueling sense of constant physical excessiveness. It never will. I had abs and I still had the mindset of a 120-kilogram girl. And I treat people and speak to people every single day with the same thing. They've lost, I'm doing a seminar with one of my amazing friends, Nathan Mayola, in March. He's lost 150 kilos and is now massively on the mindset journey. I'm like, if that doesn't show you what's important, then what does? And he's on the same thing as me. If we don't work on the mindset, we're never actually going to fully step into who we are. So mindset is 150%. For me, mentality is 90%, action 10%. Not 80% nutrition and 20% exercise. Mindset controls every component. You know how to eat healthy. You know how to exercise. You know how to be physical. So how about control the mindset, figure that out, and then it all comes easy.
Well, it's well, telling my clients, they kind of not baffled, but they kind of, once they get the mental aspect of it right, everything else becomes, I won't say easy, but it
It
becomes
does. It's
easier.
enjoyable.
I won't say exercise is enjoyable.
It's it's enjoyable in the moment of if you do what you wish to do on that day. If you don't wish to go to the gym and do a grueling, crazy workout and you go and do it, it's not necessarily enjoyable. But if you can take yourself out down to the why of why you're doing it, and it's to become healthy and because I, release endorphins and that makes me happy, and not because I'm just trying to chase a physical goal constantly, it changes everything.
Well, that notion of obviously the endorphins, it doesn't really matter if you enjoy the session or not. It's still going to physically happen because it's a hormonal response. So, but I think that if we come back to the underlying issue there and kind of use the analogy of obviously a child, you obviously enjoy things more when you're younger because
You
you
don't have
don't
the
you don't
yeah.
associate all those negative things. Okay, you're not scared of what's going to happen if I do this. You don't think of the
Mhm.
consequences. So it's kind of going back to that notion and
Mhm.
kind of putting in perspective. When I've gone to speak to schools and they ask me, why do you do sport? Well, okay, why did I do sport at elite level? Well, I did it because one, I enjoyed it. Uh, okay, I was lucky enough to travel around the world. That was a bonus. But I said the underlying issue there is why people continue on that journey and stay obviously in sport at that high end level is because they haven't lost that initial how would I put it? It's not focus, but that initial trigger is obviously they've never lost that enjoyment for the sport. It's coming back to if you enjoy something or you love something that you do, you're gonna obviously put more into it. So it comes to that point. If you're
Mhm.
still enjoying what you do, you're gonna carry on. It's when that point that you um
Mhm.
get to the point where you hate something. That's when you stop. Well, okay, most people in life don't get to do a job that they enjoy. It's
Mhm.
to pay the bills. But if you can find something that you truly love, it's
Mhm.
not a chore.
Exactly. Find what makes you happy in that moment to achieve that result, and you're going to be in euphoria. That's all it is. Not doing things you don't want to do, you can obtain the same result in something you do.
But I think it's like you say, it's to if you have that exercise goal in mind, you've got to kind of to a certain extent obviously change your mindset, but you've got to change the way you speak in terms of the wording you use to
Mhm.
obviously get better results. Okay, I use those words like need, want. Okay, that for in a mindset scenario, they're not great words to use because they're how do I put it? Kind of what ifs. Okay, I need. Okay, you could need loads of things, but you want to use wording as I can't think off the top of my head, but more positive concept. It's more
Paint
looking at
the yeah,
it's looking at the
paint the
why
right
more
why you're
so
trying
than
to
the
do it.
want.
Yeah. Mhm. I just want to warn you. My mum just sent me a message saying that she needs to chat with me, so I hope she's safe and happy.
All
So I
right
was
then.
like, it's like, ooh, I don't know why she's trying to call me, but I think that you 100% nailed it on the head with like your mindset and your goal behind what you're trying to achieve. And I love what you're doing in the industry and just giving so many people different ways of thinking and different aspects of everything. And that to me is everything because somebody will be able to take something from everything, and to be able to be that person to connect them with so many different mindsets and so many different ways and so many different things that are going on is incredible.
Cheers for that. So what we'll do is I'll wrap the podcast up now. So what if you had to summarize this podcast in one sentence, what would that be to for people to take away?
obtain your why, move forward with focus and knowing that, changing the mindset as to why you're doing it. Take it back down to self-worth, and because you're good enough to achieve the results, make yourself your why and understand that there's a better way. And if you can connect with someone that understands the mindset behind weight management, you'll be winning.
So once again, Emma, thanks for taking the time out your day to come on the show.
Thank you for having me, and I hope we can do it again.
And for everybody else, this podcast will be aired every Thursday. So until next week, I will see you then.